he is the chairman of the US Transhumanist Party. Actually, we have known each other for many years because also I am a transhumanist. I quote this book, Death is Wrong, in my book. In The Death of Death, I quote Gennady because he has fantastic content here for everybody, young people especially, but for everybody. He has also written a novel. He's an actuary. And I discovered something about him I didn't know. I was a month ago in Stockholm, Sweden, with Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson is going global with the Don't Die movement, and he organized a meeting in Stockholm. And I was having dinner with a guy who said, oh, I'm interested in transhumanism because a childhood friend of mine is now the chairman of the US Transhumanist Party. And I said, who is that guy? And he said, well, Gennady. So this guy studied with him in high school, and he said something that you were the genius of the class in Chicago. So I was really impressed. Someone who knew him from what, maybe 20, 25 years, who said that he was a genius. I know he's a genius, and he's developing an incredible game, which is the longevity escape velocity game. So, Gennady, welcome here.
All right, thank you very much, Jose, and I'm honored by your good words. So today I will speak about an effort to revive LEV, the game. LEV, of course, stands for Longevity Escape Velocity, and there was a precursor to the current game back in 2014. There was a different team working on it. They tried to crowdfund the game. Unfortunately, they reached only $489 out of a very modest $6,428 goal. So in 2020, I was wondering what had happened to this game because I played the alpha version and it was quite good. I reviewed it very favorably on my website, The Rational Argumentator, and I told them, well, I didn't have that kind of money then, but I have it now, so how much do you need to finish this project? And they told me, well, we had since moved on to other things, and besides, we lost the source code for the original Android version, and even if it had existed, it wouldn't work on the most current Android platform. So I decided, okay, they let me have the rights to continue developing the game. They let me have whatever visual assets they still had in their possession. I am going to go back to the drawing board, redesign the logic of the game, base it on actual data, 2018 CDC mortality tables, since I am an actuary by profession, and I added a lot more technologies, a lot more events in the game. I made the game turn-based so that you could really think about the choices that your character will be making. So in late 2023, it took me a while, but I finally found a qualified programmer, Juraj Sternvukotic from Croatia, and he was able to code the game for me in a budget that was close to the original budget, keeping inflation in consideration. Also, I leveraged the transhumanist and life extension community and crowdsourced some illustrations. I utilized generative AI as well, and I'm a composer on the side, so I have my musical compositions as the accompaniment to the game. My friend and fellow Transhumanist Party officer, Jason Geringer, also remastered some of them to give them a more futuristic sound. I did 2 public demonstrations online of prior versions of the game, but the build that I will be showing you today is build 0.9, which has a lot of improvements, as you will see, including more events later on in the game, a display of which historical figures or long-lived animals your character has outlived, and advocacy. Advocacy is a very important dynamic. We're in the activism panel, so I'm sure you appreciate that. And art. Art has a role in the game. So the most important slide is this one. Take pictures of it because this is the link where you can download and play the game. It's completely free, no ads, no catch to it, no premium content. I'm not looking to make money from this game. The files are very compact. This is a traditional 1990s game. Yes, I'm dating myself, but games were actually more sensibly designed back then. You can download the files, run the exe file on your computer, and just play it. There's also modding capability. If you have a different vision of the future, you want to build your own in-game events, you can do that. Potentially, we'll have a multiplayer mode in the future. Right now, the game is for PC, but in the future, we could also develop an Android version, a browser-based version, and, well, Apple is more difficult, but we'll see what we can do. But now, let's actually run the game, because I think that's the best way to show you how it works. And you may have to bypass a firewall, by the way. So I'm wondering, for those at the controls, if you could switch to the screen for longevity, escape velocity, the game, if anyone has that option. You actually hear some music in the background. That's music for the game. If you run it on your PC, you will hear it much more clearly. But in the meantime, if anybody could shout to me, what is a name that you want the character to have? Lazarus Long. Okay. How old do you want the character to be? Keep in mind, the older the character is, the greater the difficulty level, but that may be interesting. 65. Okay. Yes, that's a good age to play as, and I think it's representative of a lot of the audience here. So we have Lazarus Long. We enter his age, 65. We can select the gender, so male. And the goal age, let's say, we'll use 100 for this game. I usually recommend 200 to keep it interesting, but we have limited time here. So you can see here on the display, the name here, it's 2025, biological age and chronological age, which are both 65 right now. Energy, Jose, is the currency of the game here. Stress is a part of the game, and Lazarus is still working full time, so he's spending energy on work. You can see his survival probability, or you can't see it now. But anyway, the game does display survival probability and death probability, which is just the complement of the survival probability, so you know how your choices affect the game. And then there's also a box showing which historical figure your character has outlived, so you will be able to see that eventually. In any event, in the game, you have choices that you make, and you spend energy to make those choices. And some of them are lifestyle choices like fitness or nutrition. Other choices involve productivity. So what adjustments can give you more energy? How can you earn more energy to do more of what you want? Then advocacy is also a dynamic within the game. So you can advocate for various causes, and one of them is anti-aging. So now you can see fitness regimen, improved nutrition, productivity regimen, and then risk aversion. So you can die from non-aging related causes as well. In fact, this death probability is broken down by various risk factors. Again, somewhat realistic. You can see there's a small risk of suicide, small risk of vehicle accidents. Cancer is a substantial risk for a person. Yes, for a person of age 65. And then risk death is something that exists because this person is not risk averse yet. Chance of other death, that includes everything along with aging. So that's the most significant contribution to the probability here. But let's see what happens if Lazarus does a fitness regimen. So he's 65, he has 10 energy. Let's make sure that he does some exercise. Okay, so an in-game event has happened. Looks like an autonomous vehicle, and another in-game event has happened as well. That's an artwork. So an artwork inspires the character, and it can give the character more energy. There are also prompts here in the text box showing what events have occurred in the game. So in 2026, autonomous vehicles are widely deployed throughout the roads of the world and become highly effective at eliminating deaths from road traffic accidents. And also, Lazarus Long saw this artwork, the 3D model of a futuristic city, and he's inspired, gaining additional energy. And you can see whom he's outlived. He's outlived Francis Bacon, one of the early immortalists. So now, because of the fitness regimen, he's biologically a little bit younger. He's biologically 63, so this helps, but it doesn't go all the way toward reversing his aging. And to do that, we need technologies that don't exist yet. But he can do certain things. So let's see what happens if he does risk aversion. Because if he doesn't do risk aversion, then every year there's a random probability that he's going to engage in some risk-taking behavior like reckless driving or skydiving, or there's even bullfighting in the game, but we don't want him to do that. So risk aversion, his probability of death didn't increase that much, but he's still aging. And you can see now you don't have a certain contributor. You don't have the risk aversion contributor. You don't have the accidents because the autonomous vehicles are helping to prevent those. But you still have the big problem, which is aging. So let's do some advocacy. You can do part-time anti-aging advocacy, which is what he did. However, you can have higher tiers of advocacy. So you can invest more energy and do full-time anti-aging advocacy. You can invest even more energy and do leadership anti-aging advocacy. Advocacy affects the probability of events in the broader world. And you can advocate for other causes as well that will also have an effect. So you can advocate for automation. You can advocate for nanotechnology. You can advocate for anti-cancer research, for nuclear disarmament, for public health. Anti-war advocacy is a part of this, and disaster prevention advocacy. You could even build a fallout shelter, but it's very expensive. Be warned, nuclear war can happen in this game too. So what will he do now? You can see he's aging chronologically, 58 biologically, he's back at 65. So what would you like to do in terms of advocacy, improved nutrition, productivity regimen? Just call it out. Nutrition, okay. So let's do improved nutrition. Cryonics is not an option in this game yet, at least until we have multiplayer mode. It doesn't really make sense because what does it do? It just pauses the gameplay until the character is reanimated. But you can see with improved nutrition, his biological age was again reversed a little bit to 64. His death probability is a little bit lower. He exceeded his energy budget with this, so now there's stress. He's mildly stressed. If you exceed your energy budget, you get stress, and stress will age you. So there's part of that. By the way, he's still employed full-time. You can see he spent 5 energy working to earn a living. So what else should he do? He can still do a productivity regimen. He can do nothing to regain his energy, or he can do advocacy of any of these sorts. Call it out. Anti-aging advocacy. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, something I think will happen. Oh, he can't do it because he has negative energy. So let's wait a turn. Yeah, he got to watch TV, and now he's partially retired because he's chronologically 70. So now he can do anti-aging advocacy. Oh, look, there's a moon base now. And the first moon base was built in 2031. Lazarus Long is inspired by this and gains 5 additional energy. So he's got 15 energy. He can now spend it on any of these. So let me illustrate what happens with the productivity regimen. If he does this, he gets higher energy production. But something bad has happened. This looks like a pandemic. And then also, he sees an artwork, so he's inspired by this, but in 2032, the Rift Valley fever pandemic has afflicted the world. The probability of death for biological ages below 60 is increased by 1/1000th, and the probability of death for older people, biological ages 60 or greater, is increased by 1.5%, so much higher for older people. This is more realistic. And you can see how his death probability has just shot up because of this pandemic. So what can you do with the pandemic here? Well, you can't do very much except advocate for public health, and maybe that will help to reduce it. But, you know, advocacy doesn't always work in this game. So it's probabilistic. You could advocate for something and the bad event could still happen. So the pandemic is continuing, but there's another artwork that inspires the character, and we have some advances. We have some technological advances with allotopic expression of 13 proteins. That's one of the SENS technologies. And also, we have a vaccine that's available for the pandemic now. So let's see. I think it's in his interest to get vaccinated against this. And look, the death probability has come down, and it looks like the pandemic has ended in 2034. And also, there's another SENS technology available now, novel lysosomal hydrolases. So I want to show you this now. You can spend energy on a true rejuvenation technology, but if you only get one, so he got the novel lysosomal hydrolases, that only reverses some of the damage. So it didn't really turn back his biological age yet. His death probability has been reduced a little bit. And by the way, we have significant theoretical advances in nanotechnology and artificial intelligence in 2035 that make certain other events more probable. But to really have a benefit in age reversal, we need multiple types of damage to be reversed. So let's do the other SENS treatment that's available now, the allotopic expression of 13 proteins. Oh, look, his biological age has been reversed to 66, almost as low as when it started. Even though he's chronologically 76, his death probability is just a little over 1% now. And this is a graphic showing synergistic effects of the two technologies. So you can even see the text here. Two SENS technologies have been applied and synergized together. Is this the first step toward longevity escape velocity? So on this tantalizing note, I will leave some time for questions, but I will show you what you can do with regard to exporting the log of the game. So we don't yet have a save game feature, but I'll just save it as Lazarus, and this text log, it can show you essentially this list of events, everything that happened in the game, and that way you can at least have a record of what choices your character made each year, what the chronological and biological ages were, and when you reach your goal age, there will be a victory screen. So hopefully with the good start that Lazarus Long has had, he will be able to get to longevity escape velocity. So thank you very much. I'm open for any questions that you might have.
Okay, if there is a specific question about the game, we can take it. Otherwise, we will continue and have all the questions at the end for everybody. Is there any specific questions? Okay, I can see you are a player, a game player. So let's take your question.
If you playtest the game, what's the best way for us to provide feedback?
What's the best way for what?
For us to provide feedback.
Feedback? Yeah. So if you have my email address, you can send the feedback to me via email. You can find it on the Transhumanist Party website, the same website where you can download the game. But really, I'm available via email, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, Twitter, Blue Sky. So just find me or the Transhumanist Party and send us feedback.
Okay, and everybody remember to read "Death is Wrong," because it is very wrong. So, okay, read that and let's play the game. So thank you so much, Gennady.